Hello everybody. So I am still traveling. Quick video on MSTR like every Sunday, but I can't wait until the US time to make this video. So I'm just gonna tell you what I assume he did and what I assume Saylor bought for MSTR. The title of this video is Bitcoin holds. Is MicroStrategy, is MSTR, well now called strategy, right? Is it to outperform going forward? Because I've been very pleased actually with the performance of Bitcoin. If you look at the performance of Bitcoin over the week, we're actually up. We're at 64,600 on a very, very bleak macro backdrop. I mean, the Middle East tensions are back. If you remember, Bitcoin dropped initially because of those Middle East tensions. They are back in full swings. You unfortunately have harsh words from both sides. You have bombs from both sides. The macro is really bleak. The macro is really bad. This is bad for markets, bad for oil, bad for the world. Just bad, bad, bad. It's a gray swan. Yet Bitcoin is up. And not only is Bitcoin up, so this is very hopeful, a very good thing. But if you look at the fear and greed index, it sure looks like we could be getting back to neutral. So this is actually pretty exciting for those with a big exposure to Bitcoin and a big exposure to crypto markets in general, of course, because everything is correlated to Bitcoin. So I love to see this, and this is despite oil being up more than 20%, of course, over like a 2-week period or less than a 2-week period. So let's talk about MSTR. How did MSTR perform this week? Well, it performed roughly in line with what it used to perform. You see, Bitcoin was up, a little more than 2.5%, 2.7%. Strategy itself was up 3.5%. So this delta, and we know historically we have a 1.5 correlation historically. This delta is still a little defavorable to strategy. So maybe it did a little bit of ATM. Maybe it did just a tad of ATM. But you see, there's not much you can do. When MNAV is 1.01, at this point, the ATM is neutral. If you ATM at 1.01, you're printing $100 for $101. You're really not making any money. So my guess is that if he ATM'd, you really didn't do much. Maybe some symbolic number, maybe a symbolic number, I don't know, like $21 million or something like that. And to me, if he ATM'd, he's doing it for the dollar reserve, because it's all about stretch. It's all about getting stretch back through trading between 99 and 100, 99 and 100. And this is what he said multiple times that on X, that is the only goal of the company. Fongli also going on an interview saying it's the only goal of the company. And I like that Saylor is now focusing on the bigger picture and simply waiting. I think all strategy has to do at this point is wait. We have to wait for the market to come back to its senses. We have to wait for Bitcoin to make a comeback. If Bitcoin gets back to $70,000 or $75,000, something like that, strategy will be automatically fixed. At least that is my opinion. And so that's why Saylor has moved on to the bigger picture, to bigger issue. You'll notice a few things. On the website, there's a new section on strategy.com talking about media, organizing all of the interviews that Saylor has done over the past... sorry about that. Over the past few years. I love to see that. I love to see a center point where we can get all of the interviews. Saylor also talking about how strategy is trading like a lot of big assets as far as volume goes. And of course, strategy is a favorite of a lot of traders. The options are very well priced on strategy. They are very quick. There's no slippage, nothing like that. So a lot of people do a lot of trades on MSTR, and so that's actually an interesting asset when you have so much volume, when you have so much interest on the asset. It's crazy to think that the volume on strategy is bigger than the S&P 500. The SPY, it's roughly the same. The trading volume is roughly the same as QQQ. The average trading volume 30-day over market cap is what I'm talking about here. So that the volume around the trading of the stock is just insane, which makes it interesting. That means a lot of hedge funds, a lot of capital is looking at that. Saylor moving to the bigger picture. Once again, he posted this very long article about BIP, Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 110, and why he thinks it's a bad idea. I did not go through it, and I will not go through it because I know Bitcoin can get very toxic, and I don't want to take a position on this. But from what I understand, he's making a lot. I mean, went for it just really, really quickly. I see a lot of good points in there, but I don't take a position on this debate. It's just good to see that Saylor is working on the bigger picture, working on the network, working on Bitcoin, working on helping out Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin is the most important thing to strategy. If Bitcoin does well, strategy does well. I think out of all of the people out there, he has the biggest vested interest for Bitcoin to do well. And so he's taking a side. Good for him. Lastly, focusing on return of capital information and how they expect the return of capital to remain for all of the credit instruments. This is a big deal. This is why it makes Stretch so attractive to so many people, especially in high tax states, right? If you live in California or New York City, it's very attractive to you because it's return of capital, so it's tax deferred. You start paying taxes after you've exhausted your entire cost basis. After you've gotten back your entire cost basis is when you start paying taxes. The return of capital information and the return of capital status of the dividends of Stretch and of your other instruments is actually crucial to getting a lot of investment into these instruments. And that's something that I think he needs to promote a little more, that people need to understand. Of course, if you are in a different tax environment, that may not apply to you at all. But in the US, that's actually a pretty big deal, that you would have ROC dividends. ROC dividends actually a pretty big deal, especially if you're a retiree. Right? Think about that. Think if you're a retiree, you're 73. That means between 73 and 83, you pretty much don't have to worry about taxes. You'll pay taxes when you're much older, right? And then if you were to pass this down to your heirs, they get a stepped up cost basis and they get a new cost basis. So there's a lot of there's a lot of tax advantages actually to these instruments from what I understand. So he's focusing on the bigger picture. He's focusing on the media. I think he's doing very little ATM right now. There's unfortunately not much we can do because Bitcoin is not doing too well. It's doing a little better, but it's not doing too well. So strategy is not going to recover until Bitcoin recovers. I think we need to get through the summer. We need to get past the summer, and then we are going to be doing better. At least that's what I hope. And as you know, MSTR is still a pretty large investment for me. So at least it's what I hope. But anyways, as always, as you know, on this channel, it's never investment advice. This is not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.